Hey everyone, welcome to the Royce Reports. I'm your host, Royce, and on this channel, we talk a lot of things Xbox, but I do dabble in other gaming-related topics and reviews. So if you think you might be interested in that, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And before I get into the news today, I kind of want to talk about something, which is I just reached a huge milestone of 100 subscribers, and I know that's very a very small subscriber amount. But my personal goal this year was to try to get to 100 subscribers before the end of the year, since I've only been doing this for about 2.5 months. And I appreciate all of you guys for stopping by, for listening, for subscribing. And I just want to say thanks to Alex. He is the 100th subscriber. And just because I'm pointing him out, does that mean that he's better than all of you other guys? Yes, it does. No, not at all. It's just that he was the 100th subscriber. But I do want to thank all of you guys that have subscribed, that have commented. I've had great conversations with a lot of you guys. Z-Berg is one of them. You know who you are. And Jimmy the Gamer, thank you guys. And I can't wait to see where we go from here. And I am so appreciative of all of this. So thank you guys for making my goal come true. And hopefully next year, maybe I could reach 1,000. That'd be pretty crazy. But enough of all that sappy shit. Let's get into the news, which is, hey, you know what? Last night when we're all laying down trying to get some shut-eye and having the Sandman come and whisper sweet nothings into our ears and maybe cop a field, what happened? Phil Spencer has pretty much said, hey, look, we're offering 10-year deals and we have contracts and everything to prove that with Nintendo and Steam. And here's little old Sony out here sitting on off the side like, well, what about me? So let's talk about this and let's get into the news. All right, so like I said, last night Phil Spencer posted a tweet, and this tweet has been pretty much shaking up all of Twitter and all of the gaming news right now, which is Phil Spencer is making a 10-year deal to continue to bring Call of Duty on Steam and to start introducing Call of Duty to Switch. So let's see what he had to say about that. Microsoft has entered into a 10-year commitment to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo following the merger of Microsoft and Activision Blizzard King. Microsoft is committed to helping bring more games to more people, however they choose to play. I'm also pleased to confirm that Microsoft has committed to continue to offer Call of Duty on Steam simultaneously to Xbox after we have closed the merger with Activision Blizzard King. So this is a huge deal because this is the same offer that they extended over to Sony, and Sony flat out refused it and did not talk about it, and they didn't want to talk about any of that at all, and they have yet to come out and talk about it. But that same deal that we know about is being offered to Nintendo and Steam, and that just goes to show that Sony is just trying to get this deal canceled at all costs, because they're like, you know what, no, we're going to deny this, and we're going to keep playing that card of, hey, Xbox is not really there for gamers. They're not about giving this IP to other people. This is not about that. But this begs to differ. You see them, and we've talked about it before, and I've talked about it on the channel before, but Microsoft wants to bring Call of Duty to other platforms. They don't want people to just fall away from Call of Duty. They don't want to make this a exclusive IP and try to get people over to the Xbox ecosystem. That's not the whole point of this. The whole point of this is to have a constant revenue of billions of dollars every year by having the biggest franchise in gaming. And you don't continue to have the biggest franchise in gaming if you don't support it, and instead you just remove it from devices. That's not the point. The point is to get Game Pass on everything that they can, to get their games on everything they can, and to continue to support the IP that has been existing for these multiplayer IPs that have been existing for a long time now. And this is very interesting because there is a relationship between Xbox and Nintendo that has been going on behind the scenes for a couple of years now, ever since Phil Spencer took over at Xbox. And you saw a lot of interesting things happening. So you have Ori and the Will of the Wisps and Ori and the Blind Forest, which are Xbox-owned IPs, are actually making their way over to the Switch. And You've had them work together on classic IP like Banjo-Kazooie and bringing that over to Nintendo Switch Online. And you see the discussions between Nintendo about GoldenEye and having GoldenEye coming back after so long and finally being able to not just show up on Nintendo Switch Online, but to also show up on Xbox and have it be playable for modern audiences. And this relationship is continuing to prosper. We also saw them bring Banjo-Kazooie into Smash, as well as Minecraft Steve. So there's a relationship going on there, and they're trying to play well with each other. And this is just another version. This is just another example of them trying to work together and to bring Call of Duty to Switch. And I think this also brings up the conversation of, well, how are they going to do that? Because the Switch right now, in the state that it's in, is not really powerful enough to play Call of Duty the way that we play it on the PlayStation, PC, or Xbox. And that's true. The hardware necessary for Call of Duty to run the way it's supposed to run and for it to feel the way it's supposed to feel is not there yet. So people are kind of assuming that this is something that Microsoft is not going to bring to the Switch, but to the next Nintendo device, the Switch 2 or whatever the next Nintendo predecessor may be. And that's kind of interesting to think about because, well, we haven't seen the last Switch came out in 2017, and so it's kind of due for a refresh. And we know that Call of Duty is not coming out in 2023. We know that. We just know that it could potentially be a premium Call of Duty experience, so a bigger form of DLC and not an actual full-fledged game. And so people are going to assume that the next Call of Duty will be releasing in 2024, and that will also release on the Switch 2 or the next Nintendo console. And that's when they also think that the next Nintendo console will be releasing, is in the year 2024. And Phil Spencer would probably have insider knowledge on that, and that's probably why they are trying to make this deal go through and to get that Call of Duty running on those platforms. And they also have the cloud. You have cloud services that are ever expanding, and they're putting a lot of money into and growing that cloud infrastructure. And there's games right now on Switch that you can only play through the cloud. So that is still a viable option for them, and they could probably potentially go that route. But another interesting thing happened, and it wasn't just the Nintendo thing, right? Obviously, you want to attack the Nintendo consumers because there's over 100 million potential users there. But something that's also very interesting is they called out Steam. Now, Steam is is the biggest platform on the PC where you could go and play and buy many games from. And what happens is that Call of Duty typically doesn't release on Steam day and date that it releases on the Activision Blizzard client. And so them bringing that to Steam will be something that's really great for consumers. It's allowing you to play the games where you want to play them. And instead of having to have multiple different accounts on different services and different clients, you could just play it from Steam. And this is really cool. And Gabe Newell actually had some comments about this. We're happy that Microsoft wants to continue using Steam to reach customers with Call of Duty when their Activision acquisition closes. Microsoft has been on Steam for a long time, and we take it as a signal that they are happy with gamers' reception to that and the work we are doing. Our job is to keep building valuable features for not only Microsoft, but all Steam customers and partners. Microsoft offered and even sent us a draft agreement for a long-term Call of Duty commitment, but it wasn't necessary for us because A, we're not believers in requiring any partner to have an agreement that locks into shipping games on Steam into the distant future. B, Phil and the games team at Microsoft have always followed through on what they told us they would do, so we trust their intentions. And C, we think Microsoft has all the motivations they need to be on the platforms and devices where Call of Duty customers want to be. So this is sort of a kind of jab over at PlayStation, saying look, we believe in our service enough that if you want to ship your game on our service, despite the cuts and all the other things, then go ahead. If you choose not to ship your game on our service, go ahead. That's fine. And you know why that's fine? Is because Steam has been successful for years without Call of Duty. You have Nintendo, who haven't had a Call of Duty since the Wii U. and they've been very successful without it. So that's pretty much just saying that we don't need Call of Duty to succeed. We welcome Call of Duty on our consoles, but we don't need it. PlayStation is the only big party that is actually against this deal. You have things like Google who are going and trying to be against it as well, but they don't really have a leg to stand on, especially since they're also being sued and being looked at through scrutiny because of their anti-competitive, anti-consumer ways. And not only that, but they did have a competitor and they chose to just not support it in any way and let it die. And they try to blame that on other people. So there's not really a whole lot of arguments from Google other than just them trying to be as loud as possible. But PlayStation is the only big company that is against this deal. And I think that this is kind of very telling because this kind of gives a lot of it kind of gives the people that are reviewing this deal time to look at it and realize, like, hey, you know what? It's kind of weird that every single company that we've talked to is for this deal or doesn't really care about it. Whereas there's only one true company, one true competitor that is actually flailing around about this. And so what does that mean for PlayStation? You know, it's just, so once this deal goes through, if it does end up going through, does that mean PlayStation is going to come over to Xbox and be like, ooh, you remember that deal that you gave the other guys? Well, we kind of want a piece of that too. And, or are they just going to like just admit defeat and kind of agree to it now? I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. It's pretty interesting. And I like to see Nintendo and Microsoft become buddy like this. It's kind of like that one scene from Predator.
You son of a bitch.
So this is also from Brad Smith, who is I'm assuming he's the lawyers. He's a big lawyer over there at Microsoft. And he says, our acquisition will bring Call of Duty to more gamers and more platforms than ever before. That's good for competition and good for consumers. Thank you, Nintendo. Any day Sony wants to sit down and talk, we'll be happy to hammer out a 10-year deal for PlayStation as well. So they are calling out Sony, just like leaving them out high and dry, saying, you know what? Hey, that's all you guys. If you guys want to hammer it out, you know where to find us. If not, then all right, then be that way. That is crazy that he's calling them out. I wonder if Sony's probably going to respond at some point. Maybe not. Who knows? But this kind of goes to show that, you know what? Sony is trying to stop this deal, and it's pretty much annoying everybody that is involved. Dinah Bass here says, Microsoft offered a similar deal to Sony, but they haven't accepted. Phil Spencer isn't mincing words about that. From where we sit, it's clear they're spending more time with the regulators than they are with us to try and get this deal done, he said in an interview. Yeah, they really don't want this deal to go through. So that's oh man, this is a huge turnaround. Xbox is so smart when it comes down to these things, right? This is a smart move on their part. They are making it to where they're shifting the point of view here. They're showing you like, hey, look, we've offered this deal to Sony and they said no. And they keep saying that this is insufficient, that this is not great. And then we will go and offer that to other competitors like Nintendo, like Steam, and they take it and accept it with open arms. And in fact, that statement from Gabe Newell himself is very compelling to that argument that, hey, look, he even says, we don't need any of this. We also know that when Microsoft says they're going to do something, we're going to do it. And Gabe Newell and Microsoft has had a really close relationship for a very long time. In fact, I think Gabe Newell is a huge Xbox fan. So obviously he's going to say some good things, right? But no, this guy, he knows his way around all of this stuff. He is a genius. He is a creator that everybody loves and respects. And we all want Valve to go and make a third game for once. But this is just so crazy. I never would have thought that I would have woken up. Well, actually, I never thought I would see this late at night. It was so late. It was like 9 o'clock at night for me, and I'm seeing this tweet. So, what do you guys think? Do you think that this deal is finally going to get through? Or are you going to finally have the FTC just say, you know what, boom, accept it, we have no concessions? Or do you still think there's going to be some concessions? And do you think that the 10-year deal is sufficient enough for those concessions to be granted, or are they going to require it for even longer? Let me know in the comment section below. And again, thank you guys for the 100 subscribers. I appreciate it, and I love talking about this stuff with you. And I can't wait to finally get done with my God of War review. I have been struggling to get through that game, but I finally beaten it. So my next video, if nothing happens in the news, should be a God of War review, as well as me working on Evil West, trying to get through that. I've been playing a lot of Warzone as well. My first time jumping into the Warzone 2. I love Warzone, the original one, and this is kind of different. Nice change of pace though, and I'm having a blast with that. So what are you guys playing? Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for stopping by, and remember to click the like, comment, and subscribe buttons and leave your thoughts out for me to read. And thank you guys. I'll be seeing you guys on the next one. And remember, take it easy.